Welcome to Northwestern Adventures, everyone. I am your host, Taya Bray.
And I'm Maddie Miller.
And today we'll be talking to you a little bit about like the tips and tricks you might want to need to know. You're going to want to need to know this stuff. We'll talk about like budget-friendly tips, flights, luggage, all the fun stuff. So you don't have to not have fun when you're out about in Europe. So, Maddie, would you like to give our Did You Know statement for today's episode?
Yeah. Did you know that when you're traveling from west to east, the jet lag is worse than when you're traveling from east to west?
That's not good. Okay, so how can we avoid stuff like that, Maddie?
Basically, don't let yourself fall asleep when you want to, because like halfway through the day, you're going to be like, I really, really want a nap, but I also really want to go see a castle. And so you're going to go to the castle. You're not taking a nap. Yeah, we're specifically going to be talking about traveling to Northwestern Europe. And in each season of our podcast, we're going to be focusing on a different country. And we're really excited because our first country we're going to be talking about is Ireland. And it fits perfectly because we have St. Patrick's Day coming up next month.
Perfect. Yeah.
Ireland's in Northwestern Europe. It's an island. And there are two parts of Ireland. So Northern Ireland, which is owned by England and Scotland and the UK. And then there's the Republic of Ireland, which is separate and its own separate country.
Have you been to Ireland?
I did. My family and I went on a 2-week history tour of Ireland, where we basically started in Dublin and we went up north, up into Northern Ireland, and then came around through the Republic of Ireland and then back to Dublin. And it was amazing. We saw so many cool things and got to experience some great Irish culture and music and dancing, and it was a lot of fun. For your next adventure abroad, we're going to be providing some tips and tricks that like we've learned from personal experience, like dealing with luggage, what's the best way to pack, what's the best time to travel, what the weather is going to be like depending what season that you're going, and just how to keep everything together, not lose your luggage because that can be a problem. And also just some fun facts and some historical as well as cultural highlights that when you go to Ireland, you really need to make sure that you get a chance to see them if you can.
So tell me, Maddie, what are some tips and tricks safety-wise, as a woman? I'm 5'2", I'm pretty short, and I'm not, built like a wrestler. How can you be able to fend yourself off, or, what are some, safety tips and tricks to help guide yourself through Europe?
Yeah, so thankfully, Ireland is a fairly safe place to travel. However, something that they have more so in Europe than they do here is pickpocketing. And so my mom and I invested in slash-proof bags that people, like a purse that is slash-proof so that they can't just rip it and snatch our wallets. So I also just kept my purse very close to me at all times. You can't just set it down and run in and get your food. Just keep it on you. Not going out after dark alone, which should be a given anywhere. But yeah, staying in well areas. There wasn't too many places that I felt particularly unsafe. In the cities, there's a lot more you can feel a lot more threatened by not necessarily people coming up to you and threatening, but just people that maybe don't look super safe, versus when you're in more of the countryside and there's in the smaller towns and villages, it's just a lot more chill and quieter and not quite so, you just feel a lot safer and you don't quite have to watch everything. People who are pickpocketing are going to use distractions. So there'll be a street performance, or just, push an old lady over and try to distract you so that while you're oh no, are they okay? They'll just try to grab your bag and run. something to be aware of when you're traveling.
But we just talked about how Europeans are hospitable and they want you to stay longer in their country. And now they want to pickpocket us.
Not everybody
Isn't that
does.
nice?
A lot of them are very happy to have you there, and they will very gladly talk your ear off, which my grandparents had when we were in our hotel in Dublin. They sat in the lobby, and a guy talked to them for like 3 hours. All about Ireland and why he loved it and his history there. So the Irish people are very patriotic toward Ireland, and they love their country.
That's wonderful to hear. Tell me, I have never personally been out of America. So what is probably your biggest struggle when, trying to travel outside of the U.S.?
Honestly, I feel like the packing was a big part of it because we had booked our flight we did it on Aer Lingus, and we thought the luggage size was one size, and we're like, perfect, we got this. And then we looked again, and the luggage size was smaller and had to be less weight. And so basically, I had to pack like 2-3 weeks of clothes into a backpack and have it be under like 15 pounds. So that was definitely a struggle at the beginning. And then just honestly, jet lag was rough because you just spend the first couple of days just tired because they're getting up when you're going to bed and you're going to bed when they're getting up.
What would you say are budget-friendly items you want to carry, while traveling?
You don't need to spend a ton of money on luggage unless you're like going to be traveling for a really long time, because then you can just get something that's light. I carried duct tape just because I was like, you never know. I brought a little roll of it because I was like, if anything happens to my bag, we got duct tape for budget friendly, so I don't have to go out and buy a new piece of luggage that may or may not be okay for our flight. We were able to order a pack of power adapters on Amazon so that, we didn't start any fires or our stuff didn't explode. So.
That is so interesting. I totally forgot about this. So European outlets are like totally different than American outlets.
Yeah, they are.
Why? Like, why would they do that? Why can't we all just use the same outlets, Like, it's not convenient. So it's a little weird, but it's okay. It's a hot take. It's my personal opinion.
Yeah, my grandpa did fry my hairdryer, but it was one less thing to pack on the way home.
All right. So,
yeah,
that's
very
fun.
important. Don't
carry duct tape, people,
and have power adapters.
Yeah.
The other thing for traveling is like making sure that your phone plan is going to give you service when you're out there. Otherwise, you're gonna have to rely on like Wi-Fi and which is fine. It can work, but also it was really nice to be able to just like text and not have to use separate apps because not all of our friends back home had them. And so we were able to like send pictures and call them and give them updates on what we were doing and how everything was going.
What apps would you recommend to text your family and friends back home?
Yeah, if your phone plan doesn't allow you or it's too expensive for you to be able to, eSIMs are a great option, but there's also like WhatsApp or Signal, which also work great for calling and texting over Wi-Fi.
That sounds great. Yeah, thank you, Maddie. In the next 4 episodes, we will be focusing on Ireland and its culture and its history. So what would you think, Maddie, in your personal opinion, what do you think is the biggest difference culturally between Ireland and America?
That's a great question. One of the big differences I noticed is that Irish people are very, very friendly. And that's not to say American people aren't, but I think we definitely get caught up in a lot of running around and rushing to go different places where people in Ireland very much slow down. It's very rare to find a place that will take your order to go. They actually want you to sit down and drink your coffee and eat a croissant and just enjoy sitting at the cafe, whereas we're just we're gonna grab that food and we're gonna get on the road. Oh man, the food over there was amazing. I feel like people give European food a hard time and say that it's really bland, but I found that like Irish food was really good. And like every time we ordered it, everything was like hot and cooked really well. And very traditional Irish food that a lot of people hear bad things about is black pudding, which basically means blood pudding.
Wonderful.
And
what is that?
It's basically, it's not pudding in the way that like Americans think of like pudding.
So it's not like Jell-O.
No, it is not like Jell-O. It's more like a sausage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's more like a sausage, and then they'll slice it up and serve it for breakfast. It's it's a part of an traditional Irish breakfast is blood pudding. It was literally, we have like our traditional American continental breakfast at a hotel. In Ireland, if you go to continental breakfast, you're going to see blood pudding.
Okay. All right. Well, that does not sound very appetizing to me personally. You guys try it. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me how it tastes like. Okay. So, why are you so excited talking about Ireland or Dublin or this country?
I think Ireland is really fun because it has such a unique culture, and I mean, we all and a lot of people enjoy like the Celtic music, and the dancing is fun to watch, and also a lot of people from the U.S. can trace their roots back to Ireland, as my family has roots in Ireland. And it was really cool to walk there, and my grandma being like, "Hey, you know, like our great great grandfather." How many grades back he went, like he was from this town that we were walking through and like stopped in randomly to get food. So it was just really cool to like have that connection and be like, hey, you know, like this is part of who I am as even like, you know, full-blood American, but like it was really cool to see like this is a part of where I came from, and like without these people and without the history of Ireland, like I wouldn't be here. So it was really neat to like, give that perspective.
Speaking of which, the culture in Ireland, oh my goodness, I'm a huge fan of Keith and Kristen Getty, who are Irish.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me a little bit, like, have you been able to meet with them, or have you like seen them around, or people that look like them, you know, Keith and Kristen Getty dupes, you know?
Keith and Kristen Getty were not in Ireland when we went there, but we were in Northern Ireland, which is where they were from. And I believe they filmed a music video a few years ago at St. Patrick's Cathedral and like the tomb where he's supposedly buried, and we did get to see that. So that was really neat. Unfortunately, Ireland is very secular, and it's also heavily Catholic. There are very few Protestants in Ireland, and that's still kind of the tension between Protestant and Catholics is still going a little bit today.
So would you say that might be like the only thing to look out for, you know, when we're in there? Like, is the hostility between the Protestants and the Catholics, is that something we might need to look out for?
No, I think like as a Protestant, I didn't really feel threatened by anyone. A lot of it has calmed down over the past 40, 50 years, but it's definitely heavily Catholic, and if it is Protestant, it's probably going to be Presbyterian.
Why should you listen to this next episode, Maddie?
In the next episode, we're just going to take a dive into Ireland more specifically. We're going to talk about more of my experience going there. We're going to have a great time talking about it, and we're really excited that you're going to come on our little adventure virtually with us.
Yeah. And with all that said, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Northwestern Adventures. I am your host, Taya.
And I'm Maddie.
All right, and we thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next episode. Where am I at right now?
We're introducing who we are.
Okay.
It just fell over.
Hey, people.
This is real life.
Having a little technical difficulties. Please stand by as we...
Oh, God. gosh.
I hope this goes into bloopers.
We need to publish a blooper reel. Guys, I'm like just like gave up on me.